Hello and welcome to Sid Says, every Friday edition of transfers, gossips, all your rumours, ins and outs. And joining me as always every week is Sam, Spurs for Life. Good evening, Sam. How are you?
Double thumbs up, Sid. Double thumbs up. I'm all right. I was a bit not stressed, but I was a bit rushed earlier. But done the gym, had something to eat, and ready to talk football. Spurs, particularly.
Absolutely. So, before we go any further, I'm just going to scroll it underneath what's gone on. And today's show is about end of the road for who. So, which players is there going to be the exit shown to? I don't know if... Am I lagging, guys?
You seem all right to me.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so it's all about who's going to be leaving, who's going to be showing the exit door. I know we've got a signing today as well, and a departure actually today as well. So briefly, obviously we do all about the ins as well as the outs, and we do shake it all about every now and then as well. But Clement Langley to Tottenham Hotspurs. What's your thoughts on the deal today? It's a 1-year deal, loan deal with no clause to buy him at the end of that at the moment, okay. But they reckon that might be put in at some point. So good signing, good left centre back.
Yeah, I think it's a good signing. I've had a look at him. I know a little bit about him, seen his credentials. Technically very, very good. Was pretty much a mainstay in the early part of his career with Barcelona, and then it kind of fell apart. But there was talk about the game where Barcelona was up against Liverpool in the Champions League, and Liverpool came back and beat them. And I think he had a bit of a mare in that game. And the talk is that he's not really recovered from that. On top of that, he's been playing in the back four. A lot of people say the reason why he's maybe suffering in the back four is obviously playing alongside someone like PK, which, pace-wise, they both haven't got that much pace. The talk is that he's a really good, possession-wise, he's really good. Passing range is really good as well. And maybe that lack of pace, if he had somebody else to cover him in terms of playing a left-sided centre-back in a back three, he would obviously have that cover. So ultimately, I think it's a good signing. It's going to be similar situations to what we had with the likes of Bentancur and Kulusevski. Players are not in the main plans as such, but maybe a change of direction, a change of scenery, a new manager, someone who can get the best out. We've already seen that Conte can get the best out of ordinary players. This guy's got some talent, so I like the signing. It all shows that the loan side of it. Maybe they haven't got the long-term left-sided or even centre back that they want. So it fills the gap. He's a talented player. They did want to get him last year. He refused. So yeah, I think it's a good signing.
Yeah, you know what? The thing is as well, and it's like what you said. He's got a lot of experience. He's won the Copa del Rey. He's won the title. I think Champions League. He's had about 40 odd games in the Champions League. He is a centre back that likes to carry the ball, and if you look at some of the footage that's flying around, he likes to pass the ball around as well. And that's another defender, kind of a defender that we're looking for, someone that can carry the ball and then pass it as well. I know Romero does it a lot as well. So having two, it'll be a good one. The fact that we've got him for a 1-year loan gives Conte the opportunity to assess him for that full year to see whether he's going to develop into the player that he wants and whether he's going to be able to sustain and play in the Premiership, because it's not easy coming from Barcelona, Spain, to coming to the Premiership. It's chalk and cheese, isn't it? Because they say the Spanish side is a lot easier. Here, he's going to get kicked about. He's going to get all sorts. I mean, prime example is going to be when he's going to have to go on a Tuesday night to Burnley in a cup game or something like that.
Yeah, it'll be a cup game now because Burnley are bye-bye. Anyway, that's
exactly. So that's the kind of thing. The only thing for me is the fact that there's no buy out
Option.
clause in there,
Yeah.
which is quite a weird one, because from all the rumors or all this inside information that we're getting from Barcelona, they want to get rid of him. They weren't trying to keep him at all. So it's a strange one, unless Tottenham have said, I know what's happened probably. Conte said, listen, I want him ready to come to South Korea with me, and I want him in place. So whether they've just said, let's get this over the line, get it done, and then next week or the week after or whenever they come back, we'll sit down and then we'll try and put the buyout clause or the buyback clause or whatever it is inside and see what happens. So
yeah, with those clauses, I'm not 100% sure how they actually work in terms of, because obviously Region had I guess a similar type of thing, didn't he, in terms of an option to buy, and we had players, obviously Romero had an option to buy. But what if, does it mean that we have the choice? If we don't want him, then he just goes back.
Yeah,
the selling club don't really have, obviously when they loan them out, we're going to be paying part of the wages, but then at the end of that loan deal, if they wanted to get rid of them, it's not down to us to buy. It might then have to go onto the open market. The thing that we haven't, because we haven't got this buy option, I don't know if it's a real problem in this case. And the reason I say that is, as I said, I think the player playing at Barcelona, I don't think Barcelona are ever going to play a back three. They're similar to Manchester United in that sense. They've got a way of playing. They've got a DNA as such that they play with this 4-3-3. Obviously, that goes back a long, long time to previous managers that have been there. Pep Guardiola being one of them. But even before him, Johan Cruyff days, they've had a certain way of playing. I don't know if this guy suits a back four. So at the end of the day, if he plays well for us in a back three, he might then say, you know what, it might not be for me to go back, and he might force a move. We might have to pay a little bit more money, but I don't know what that money is going to be. But when they was talking about 6 million as a buyout clause, that was never going to be true. That was madness.
Yeah, exactly. Just for people that have been out all day working or chilling and have missed out the transfer news. Some of the transfer news is Barcelona centre-back Clement Lenglet signs a 1-year loan deal with Spurs. Steven Bergwijn has signed for Ajax for 26.4 million, which is, we've made a bit of a profit on him. Man United and Arsenal are battling out for Lisandro Martinez. I think Man United have put in a 42 million bid now because they're going out, they're gunning for him, if you like that. Chelsea are in advanced talks to sign Nathan Ake, which is an interesting one. Bayern Munich look like they want to trump the deal for De Jong to Chelsea. Ronaldo, no one knows what's going on. He's not turned up for training, so they don't know. I know they're saying it's internal issues, so we don't know. And Paul Pogba, if you've seen the news outlets and social media, is on a plane, private jet by the looks of it, going to Juventus. And he was, by the looks of it, he's loving it and he's relishing going back to Juventus. And the biggest transfer news is Spurs haven't finished yet. We've got 5 in, and there's going to be a lot more. The only thing for me is if they sell Nathan Ake to Chelsea for about 40 odd million, I think it looks like, they then are going to go back into the market for a centre back. Now, if they go into it for a centre back, our top targets, i.e. the Guardiolas, the Bremers, then what happens to that? Are they then going to try and buy them by offering stupid money? I hope not, but that's my only concern now, that the fact that they're going to sell Ake to Chelsea opens the window for them to go out there and just get who they want. And you know what? They're going to go and do that.
Well, listen, most players, if you're given a choice now, I guess you could look at Pep Guardiola and Conte as being elite top 5 managers in world football. Manchester City, obviously 3 times in a row Premiership winners. You know, unluckily missed out on the Champions League. Had they won that game against Real Madrid, I think they would have won the Champions League as well. They've brought in quality signings. Haaland has come in. They've got a couple other guys in as well. They've already got an established 11. They've already got 2 players for each position. So they're flying. So if anybody had a choice and you said, what should I do? You probably would choose Manchester City anyway. So I just think if that happens, we have to actually, you know, accept it. We've got more than one target. So that's the point. I think with this Lenglet deal, Longlet, or however you want to pronounce it, I think it means that we're probably going to be going back in for somebody at some point next season, whether that be the Bastoni, whether that would be, you know, the Guardiolas we've talked about, Bremers, depending on if they move or not. But the Bastoni one, I think, is the one. I think if he is really, really on their radar, they may have had a gentleman's agreement. We don't know. This is the problem with it. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. This is it. That's the only worrying bit for me, because our main priority is a left centre back. Yes, we got Langley. However, I think that's just an interim for a bigger left centre back. And now, with these lot doing what they're doing, I'm just a little bit worried that our main target might not end up coming to us, but in fact might end up going that way. Anyway, who's going to be shown the exit door? So before we go into that, we've got 22 people watching. Please smash that like button. It only takes a second. Just like it. Follow us. Subscribe to the channel. Like we've said every week, there's plenty more coming from Paxton Road TV. So keep your eye out. Keep watching, because we'll be out and about. Exits. There's a lot of players that we need to get rid of, because if we've already bought 5 players, potentially now we need to start offloading players. It's good to see all the players coming into Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. However, there's a lot of, in some people's words, deadwood, or players that are not content material that need to leave the club. So let's start off with the first player that I believe is going to be shown the exit door. But for some reason, I don't know what's going on here. Right. Okay, so first player I've got is Harry Winks. As you can see on the screen, he's been with us for 5-6 seasons. And in the 16-17 season, he made 33 appearances, 1 goal, 1 assist. 17-18 season, 25 games, no goals, 1 assist.
Is this in the Premier League?
This is this is in total. This is his Tottenham career in everything that he's done. So in total, 199 appearances, 5 goals, and 6 assists. Now, for me, for a midfielder,
that's terrible.
That is unacceptable. Yeah.
How old is he? What's his age? Sorry, I'm just asking it. Is he 25, 26?
I think he's 26.
He must be around that sort of age.
I think he's 26. But looking at that stats, Sam, what does he say? He's 26, yeah. Looking at them stats, right? Last season, he played 28 appearances in all. He scored 1 goal and 2 assists. And the following the season prior to that, 28, 2 goals, 2 assists. Is he... I've got a couple of players on the list, but is he one of the main players now that we need to say, you know what, thank you very much. You've been with us from I think age of 8, and you need to go.
Yeah. Right. So let's start off Harry. Firstly, I would say the majority of players you would hope would maybe get a chance if they're going to go on this pre-season tour. They'll get a chance in pre-season to at least prove themselves, maybe some way, shape, or form. But I think this guy, as you said, 26, he's been at the club since a boy, 8 years of age. Them numbers, I don't. If you looked at them numbers and you said he's a midfielder, you would then anticipate that, oh, he must be a defensive midfielder. He must be somebody that just, you know what I mean? Because goals and assists is not his game. But he himself, I think he considered himself to be a bit more of a progressive player, maybe an attacking midfielder. If that's the case, then these numbers just don't stack up. It's just not good enough. Now, I know he's had his ups and downs. He's been in and out. We've had lots of changes of managers over that period of time as well. But he's never really kicked on. He's never really done... I've seen him have maybe a game. There was a couple of games where I've seen, oh, yeah, maybe. But even then, it's not like he's gone and knocked in 2 goals and had another couple of assists. It's maybe just because he's scored, or maybe he's made a really good pass, or he's had a decent game and he's not given the ball away too many times. As a midfielder, if he's a defensive midfielder, then you might think, let's look at some of the other stats, possibly defensive tackles, blah, 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 blocks. But I just don't think anything else will be any better than what you're seeing here. So for that reason, Sid,
right. He's got to go, hasn't he? Yeah.
He's got to go.
We've got Harry Winks' compatriot here, the one who always sticks up for Harry Winks, and Sean Hurl. Good evening, Shawnee. He says, here we go. the assassination of Harry Winks. Let him go with dignity. Sean, I'm not going to crucify him. All I'm saying is he's now come to the end of his time at Spurs. And let him go. If Everton come in for him, or I think Fulham or whoever wants to come in for him, then yeah, we should let him go. And if Daniel Levy is watching this, don't hold them to ransom. If they want the player,
don't show them these stats either. Just kind of
no.
mask them things. Say that, oh no, we don't know what they are. Because if you show them this, I wouldn't pay anything more than about £5 for him. Seriously, he's just flipping out.
But I think it's come to that stage now where I think he needs to go, doesn't he? He needs to go.
100%.
Right. Next on the exit list. Now these players I've got the list of, I personally think are the ones that are going to be shown the exit. And the reason I think that is because I don't think Antonio Conte's got any plans whatsoever for a couple of these players. And he's already mentioned it as well, that these are not in my plan. And I think somebody's already put in the group is it'll be interesting to see who has flown out to South Korea, and then on Saturday in the games, who's going to be available. Have they gone, and are they going to get any game time? Because that's going to be very telling to see who's going to leave and who isn't. Next on the list is everyone's the main Tottenham player that's got everyone debating about. And to this day now, there's still people saying, yes, he's still got it in him or he hasn't. Right. So, 1920 season, 29 appearances, 2 goals and 4 assists. 2021 season, 44 appearances, 5 goals, 4 assists. Last season, 16 appearances, 2 goals, 1 assist. In total, Ndombele has played for Spurs 89 times, scored 9 goals with 9 assists. Now, them 89 appearances are everything. I'm talking the Intertoto Cup. I'm talking the Conference League Cup, FA Cup, everything in total. He's played 89 games, 9 goals, 9 assists. Goals ratio for me is not bad, actually, 9 and 9. And I didn't put on there, actually, but I should have done. All them appearances, a lot of them are sub-appearances. So, for me, he's had 4 managers, I think, and not one manager's been able to get the best out of him. Conte obviously came in and he's looked at it and he's just went straight away, you know what, off you go. Or was he already on loan when Conte came, or did Conte send him on loan? I'm not too sure.
No, he played for Conte. He played a few games. He played a few games.
Right. Conte sent him on loan. So for me, I think personally he is one of maybe 3 players that is definitely not in Conte's list of being at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Only problem is Daniel Levy will want the maximum we paid for him, and there ain't no way we're going to get that. So, what do you think?
Okay, so Tanguy, I think we can agree his talent levels are far superior than Harry Winks. But again, for somebody who we could probably say is more of an attacking midfielder than he is defensive. I know he's had to play in a double pivot. I know sometimes he's played another turn. He's been all over the place, and he didn't settle that first season. He wanted to leave. Probably every season he's been here, he's wanted to leave. And his mates have gone in terms of Sissoko and who else was it? Sergio Aurier. He was good mates with those guys. They've gone. Maybe he feels a little bit of an outcast. He went on loan back to his old stomping ground at Lyon. Hasn't really worked out for him there. So that tells me that there's more deep-rooted issues with this guy. When I say issues, I don't mean in terms of mental issues, but I'm just talking about issues in terms of his attitude towards playing football. You have some footballers that are really, really, really talented, but they just can't be asked. Or they seem and appear that they can't be asked. But I think now, okay, if he goes on this preseason tour, then I think he'll be given an opportunity to prove himself one more time. I think you're right, though. I think Conte's probably got in his head, right, I'm going to give this guy a chance. If he doesn't, he's gone. Will be interesting to see if Harry Winks goes, because I think he's more closer to being sold than maybe Tanguy is. But I think we could potentially get more money for this guy, because we need to get more money for this guy because he's our record signing. But who's going to take him? If Leon don't want him, who's going to take him? I don't know.
The other issue as well is we're buying players, right? And our homegrown talent, our homegrown numbers are dwindling. We need to get some homegrown players. So if we get rid of him, that's one player off the list that we don't need to worry about,
One
i.e.,
thing
one
I
of the
would
foreign
add,
players.
one thing I would add to him though is, like I said, I really like his player. I would, if he could, if he does click, let's say in the wildest dreams that we ever could have, Conte plays him, he clicks, he said, right, boss, this is it. You've got me. I've seen the light. I can do this. And he shows some real ability like we know he can and has shown in fleeting appearances. I think it'd be better probably to keep him for at least another season than to try and sell him, because I just don't think we're going to get rid of this guy very easily. We're going to have to probably supplement his wages anyway, wherever he goes. But if he showed a real willing desire, then at least we still got after the World Cup to maybe push him on somewhere else in January. So it's a risk, but I think you're right. I think he's had enough time. He's had enough time. Yeah. I really like this guy. Oh, it's a roller.
This is the problem, isn't it? But I think Conte and PRTv now are drawn to the situation where, do we get rid of him? Do we keep him? If we keep him, we're probably not going to play him. And if he doesn't perform, then we're going to be stuck with him once the transfer window shuts. So do we just cut our losses, get rid once and for all, and whatever happens? You know, it's one of them situations.
I just think because of the outlay we've paid on this guy in terms of the transfer fee, the amount we're paying in wages, it's a very difficult one to do. You've got to find someone who's going to be willing to pay closer to what we've paid for him. And I don't think we're going to get that. Then you've got all the added problems that whoever then decides if they were going to buy him, can they afford to give him the sort of wages that he's on at Spurs? And we reportedly seeing and hearing he's on about 200k. There's not a lot of teams in world football that he's going to be able to go to that's going to be paying 200k, because he's not going to Liverpool, he's not going to Man City, he's not going to anybody in the top 6, in my opinion. If he was to stay in the Prem, I think his best would be to go somewhere in Spain, maybe Italy, a little bit slower pace, be the main man. He went to France and he's even slower pace. He still didn't work out here. I don't know, mate. I don't know.
Exactly. So, okay, so that's Mr. Tanguy Ndombele. So the man who doesn't like England and the cold weather, and he does more disciplinary acts than Paul Daniels did, Mr. Giovanni Lo Celso. 2019-2020 season, 37 games, 2 goals, 3 assists. Following season, 25 games, 3 goals, 1 assist. And last season, 17 appearances, 1 goal, 2 assists, and was sent out on loan, where he done absolutely well. He just played really well for Villarreal, got to the Europa League final, and done his bits. They won him big time. He wants to go. For me, he is probably him and Ndombele, but I think him more so, definitely not in Conte's plans, because the way he's obviously gone there and he's already made himself clear that he doesn't want to play for us, or he doesn't want to play here. He wants to go abroad, stay abroad. He's not suited to this country. He's not suited to a Tuesday night in Burnley. So for me, he's definitely going to be shown the exit door. But like you said, and like we're going to discuss, we're not going to get the price that Daniel Levy wants. So do we loan him again? And the question is, how many times are we going to keep loaning these players? We need to get rid once and for all, take them off the books, and our European quarter can go down as well.
I just don't think we can get rid of players so easily. That is our problem at the moment. Paxton doesn't have a great history of moving players on. Bringing players in, yes. Let's see how he moves some of these players on, because we got rid of Serge Aurier, but we had to just basically cut our losses. I know Sissoko's gone, and there's been Lamella's gone as well. So there's players that have moved on who had been established at Spurs. Again, looking at those numbers, 79 appearances, 6 goals and 6 assists. Kulusevski, I know he's a different player, and I know he's a more of an advanced player in terms of a forward line, but he got that almost in his first month. You know what I mean? He got that in his first couple of months of being at Spurs. And I've been guilty of it myself. I said, we've got to give these guys a chance. But when you see it in the cold light of day, 79 appearances, 6 goals and 6 assists for a player that's supposedly a more advanced type midfield. He's not a number 4. He's not playing in the number 6 position. He doesn't play, again, there's some sympathy because we've gone through different systems. We've gone from a 4-2-3-1. We've gone into a 3-4-3. We've seen, different formations played by different managers. But ultimately, I just don't know what this guy is in terms of a position. What do you think? Because he doesn't seem like he's anything. Again, it's just the numbers. The numbers just don't add up for an attacking midfielder. He's not a defensive midfielder. And what is he?
Dinosaur saying here, basically, and I think a lot of people agree with that, is, does anyone know Gio's best position? I don't think Gio knows his best position himself, mate.
I think he's one of them players that he's almost, he's an old school position. The free role. You used to have them free roles where players can just, they call them luxury players. And, that's kind of a bit of a dying sort of player now, that number 10 that can just almost be in anywhere to receive the ball type of thing and make things happen. But you need to work now. Work rate in terms of the best teams. You can't just be a player that's a luxury player. You have to have something about it. And this player, as you said, physical, I don't think he's suited for the Prem. Although he looks like he can put his foot in, get stuck in. Every time I've seen him, he just seems to just be a bit flaky in terms of the physicality. So Spain is where I think he's best. And Villarreal, he wants to go, let him go. We might have to take a hit on him as well.
You see, this is the problem we've got with Ndombele and GLC. We pay good money for him. We're just going to have to take a hit on these players because we can't keep them on the books. Ndombele is earning 200 grand a week, right? So if there's somebody that comes in, if it means you take a hit, you've got to take the hit and just get them off the books because you're not going to play them. Conte's probably already told him that these two ain't going to be my plans. I don't want them. I'm not going to play them. So, you've got to. And Daniel Levy, somebody's going to have to sit down with him, Paratici or whoever, and say, listen, Daniel, so be it. We're going to have to take a hit. We take a hit.
Yeah, and it's right. You are right in what you're saying. But again, remember, football's a business. So this is business at the end of the day. So most businesses don't like taking losses. They don't like to invest in something and then sell it at a real massive loss. Having put in the investment they have, paying his wages for X amount of years he's been here. 3 years he's been here now? It's a tough one, Sid, because ultimately, sitting here as fans, we say, "Oh, just get rid of him, sell him, do this." It don't work like that. It really doesn't. Because if it was, and if it did, these players would be gone now. They wouldn't be coming back off loan. They'd be like, "See you later, bye." But the fact is, they are, because we haven't got the buyers for them at this moment in time. Although clubs are saying we'll have him, they ain't going to pay the money that we may want or Enoch may want, and certainly with the wages as well. This is why, we've changed that philosophy. We've probably got a little bit better in it now, but this is the last of the kind of like getting. I hope we don't see this sort of situation again. We probably will, but not as drastically as we've seen with these two players.
Yeah, this is it. Right, so that's the 4 players that I had in mind. I mean, there's plenty more. So there's rumors today that what's his name? Tanganga.
Milan,
he's on his, isn't it? Yeah. Apparently, Milan were after him, but there's rumors now. Was it Fulham?
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Somebody's looking at him.
Or permanent?
Loan deal and permanent deal. Spurs are looking at the option of both as a loan deal and a permanent deal. Now, we've been on record before and said that Tanganga ain't good enough to play because we've tried him a couple of positions. He's not good enough. And how many years do we give him before we say, you know what, is he going to be another Cameron Carter's-Vickers where we keep him loan? Name. Do we keep loaning him? Or do we now just say, you know what, go for a season on loan, then we'll sell you? Or do we keep him because he's English born? So that's an English number, which keeps our numbers safe. Because if we get rid of him, that's another English player. Harry Winks is another one. That's 2 gone. Yeah, and our core of British players is not looking good at all. So he's on the cards. I'm going to put a couple in and we can talk about them. Joe Rodon's another one. Do we keep him? Do we send him on loan? What do we do with them? So them two, what do you think?
Right. So Tanganga, Again, I don't think he's at the level. We've seen him play some good games, right? But consistency is what's required in this league. Maybe he hasn't been given the run to be consistent, but then we've seen him be erratic in some of the games that he has played. He's still young, we know that. You're right, though. There's a couple of reasons why I would want to keep him in the squad. One is the homegrown quota rule that we need to take that seriously. We need to look at that. That has to be something, because that affected us last season in who we could name in our Europe squads and who we could name in the Prem squads. I would loan him out. I would hopefully, if I was it, I'd try and loan him to a team in the Premier League, someone like you said, a Fulham or a Bournemouth, someone lower down who's not going to cause us any problems, sort of thing, in terms of competition for us. But he will get some good football in time and get regular game time. And then at the end of the season, we'll see. We even give them, a bit of an option, but maybe set the option to buy quite a decent rate, such that even if he was to play really well, it wouldn't hurt too much to sell him. But I think that he'll probably be the one that stays, because the likelihood is I don't think we can sell both him and Joe Rodon at the same time, unless we're going to replace them with the same type of British player that we need to have to match these numbers.
100%. And in terms of Joe Rodon, is it the case of wrong time, wrong place? We've got a lot of potential, but he will have to go elsewhere to fulfill his potential.
So with this guy, I think I understand the reasoning as to why he's not featured more prominently. He's a good player, but I can see he's got some positional issues in terms of, maybe that's probably just wrong. I see him being a bit erratic, I see him being out of position, and I see things which I kind of understand why managers said you can't rely on, because at centre back, you can't make too many mistakes. That's the point. You can't make too many mistakes at centre back. You have to be really consistent. You have to be dependable. You have to be reliable. And I know that we had centre backs that we've had that, the likes of Dyer that made mistakes in the past, but that's kind of less and less now. But every time I've seen Rodon play, he's towering in terms of headers, but there's always a little something, a little positional sense, a little something that's a little bit. I can see why. I really think he hasn't been given an opportunity. Is he going to get that opportunity? It doesn't look so. If you're bringing in the likes of Longlet and you're still talking about bringing in another centre back, I can't see how he gets in. Unfortunate for him. So I believe he doesn't even need. I think we should just sell him. I think for him as a player, he wants to play in this World Cup coming up. Obviously, Wales are in the World Cup this year. He needs to have game time. Really, they're going to probably pick him anyway, but for his benefit to be at his best, he needs to be playing regular football.
100%, totally agree with you. Now, we've got rid of not got rid of him. We've sold Bergwijn, right? Now, we've bought 5 players in, and there's talks, obviously, Sid Says coming to Spurs. I don't know what's going on with that. Honestly, this should have been wrapped up long time ago. But I believe now it's not Tottenham's fault. Apparently, Middlesbrough keep moving the goalposts or keep asking for extra bit here and there and everywhere. And that's why he's delaying the deal. This is what I've gathered anyway. Spurs are willing to pay what they want. And every time we go back with it, they're changing the goalpost or moving the price or doing whatever. So we're doing our best. It probably will happen, but when, I don't know. Obviously, Conte wanted it done before today so he can take him to Korea, but that's not going to happen. So let's see what happens. Then maybe there's some more to come in. But for me, the biggest statement we've got to make is getting rid of some of these players, because we can't keep buying more and more players. I know next season we're going to have 5 subs. I know he wants a squad strong in depth, but we have to get rid of some of these fringe players that are not in his plans, nor will he be in his plans, unless they just want to sit on the bench and play a Carling Cup game here and there, or an FA Cup game here and there.
Yeah. So it will depend on the attitude of the players. It depends on what they've got to achieve this season. And the reason I say that is because the World Cup's partway through the year. So a lot of these players who have qualified for that and have ambitions of playing in that World Cup in their first team, in their first 11 for the majority, really want to be playing football. Joe Rodon is not likely to play much football at Spurs, given the likelihood that Dyer, Romero, and you could probably say at the moment in time, Ben Davies is our main our main back three. You've got Sanchez, you've got Tanganga, you've now got Longletters coming. I don't see how he fits into that. But again, in terms of the quota, it's really, really difficult. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think we're going to buy that many more players. I think once we get Longlet done and we get Jed Spence in, I can only see probably one more player coming. I don't think we're going to be buying many more after that. I think it's, as you said, getting rid of players.
I think. Well, I don't know how true this is, but I believe he's after an attacking midfielder. Now,
okay,
I've heard Maddison is on the radar. Conte wants him. Paratici wants him.
What's that? Sid ITK? Where did you get the Sid ITK from? I want to know about this.
I'm the transfer guy, man.
That's proper in the know.
Conte wants him. Paratici wants him. I think the only problem is Leicester and whether Brendan Rodgers and Leicester are willing to let him go. World Cup's coming up as well, so Maddison probably is. Can
I just ask you a question about the Leicester thing? Do you think Leicester would sell both Tielemans and Maddison in the same transfer window? I don't think they will, and that's the problem.
I don't think they will.
Tielemans is still umming and ahhing about where he's going to go to because of obviously the Arsenal, and I think also Manchester United may be coming into that. So if he goes, I can't see them selling Maddison as well. So I think it's that one might run until maybe the end of the transfer window.
Do they get more money for Maddison or do they get more money for Tielemans? And they've got probably better. They've not better, but they've got more attacking option players than what Tielemans does. So Maddison. So for me, if bids came in for both of them, and Maddison's a higher bid, then me as Leicester, I'd get rid of Maddison for a bigger price because they can go and replace him.
So I think Maddison's going to cost more because of his he's English, he's British born.
Yeah.
So that's going to have the premium on that. I also believe he's probably, I would say he's, again, it's very close. I would say he's probably got a bigger ceiling in terms of where I think he can go than Tim. That's just my personal opinion. I know they're different players, but I look at Maddison. I really like him as a player. As I said, he's got that Jack Grealish look about him, that sort of swagger about him, that sort of, I know I'm good, but you know what I mean? Somebody could take him and say, right, you're not that good, son, but I can make you really, really good. And that's what I think Conte could do. Slap him down a little bit, say, all right, you've had your way at Leicester sort of thing. I know you kind of maybe think you're a bit of a Jack the lad, not Jack Grealish the lad, but Jack the lad. And coming here, you got to work, you got to do this. And I think with that direction, I think we could have if we was to get a real player, because I don't think he's just an attacking midfielder. I think he has the potential to be a box-to-box, in my opinion, again. But he's going to cost more than Tielemans, definitely.
Yeah. Left centre-back, for me, Lenglet coming in is a stopgap. Or maybe, depending on how he does, like I said before, we could end up buying him. So I don't think we're going to get that big centre-back signing coming in unless something materializes with GLC and Pau Torres. So I don't know about that. And I think apart from that, I don't think there's going to be any more much activity, to be fair. I think 5 signings to start off with in pre-season, unless he takes them and then assesses it and says, you know what, I still need a few more. Yes, I don't know. But let's quickly go through a lot of these comments. Everyone's been leaving their comments on here. Thank you very much for that. So let's go from the top. So the first one we've got is Dino so saying, basically, add Yaffert to the list. I would have liked him to have had the chance to play at centre-back, but I hear Tottenham are listening to offers. NS Sports, thanks for joining us, mate. Our usual. So always on every week. Big up Sid and Sam. He's our Chelsea fan, but he's a nice guy. So, yeah.
He's a nice guy. Yeah, we don't mind him.
That's good. Who else have we got? Sorry about this. My PC is running slow, so I don't know why. I don't know why.
Do you want me to move? See if I can move him.
Yeah, do you want to do him, Sam? Because mine's just so slow.
Go on then. All right. So I'll go.
So NS Sports TV saying hi. Big up Sid and Sam again from NS Sports TV. Harmik is saying, evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Harmik. Thank you for joining us.
Your PC really is running slow, isn't it? God damn.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So, do you want to read them out, Sam?
Yeah, I'll do it. I don't mind. Because like I said, I was waiting for you about 10 minutes ago when I put that one up. NS Sports, who will Longlet displace in your starting 11? I think the talk about Longlet is he can play centrally and also that left side. So there's a potential that he could, be a bit of a Richarlison in a defensive sort of area for us, where he could fill for Dyer, possibly could fill in for Ben Davis. So I think, I don't know if he's going to displace anybody initially, because I think Conte really trusts Dyer and Davis, and I would be hesitant to see him just rip that up and put somebody else in that hasn't even played in the Premier League. So we might be a bit of a slow one for this, but we've only got him for a year, so he's going to have to play.
I think they're going to. I think this pre-season he's going to assess him and he's going to decide whether he replaces Ben Davis or not. And I agree with you, Sam. I don't think he'll replace him. I think he'll be on the bench.
Yeah. Dino's saying here, long pace, question mark. Are we talking Davis pace or veteran call Luca pace? Yeah, I'd say veteran call Luca. I remember you like running in treacle. He was funny as hell. Good, I liked him though. Sean, hi guys. Good player, yeah. Hi guys, we'll be interested to see squad list for Saturday night. Very good point, Sean. At Dino, our back three will be okay with CL. Pace issues will be worse in the back four for sure. That's why he hasn't really performed as well at Barcelona. We're talking about Clement Longlet. Do you want me to read? How many more do you want me to read? Then if you want.
Yeah, just keep going.
No problem. Hardwick saying, and biggest news of the day goes to the interim manager for 10 Downing Street, Big Sam. Yay, not me. Must be Big Sam Allardyce, not me. Hey, folks, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you do. Dino's heavy on it tonight. Should have been Sven Botman. Sven Botman, Sean. You're a fan of Sven, aren't you? Sid, you like that player?
I am. Yeah, Botman. I didn't mind thing on him last year, didn't I? Botman, Batman. But unfortunately, again, you know what? Did we actually go in for him? Did we put in the bidding for him? Or did Conte turn around and say, let him go elsewhere? I've got bigger players and better players that I want to go and get. Or is it going to be one of them where we missed out?
Yeah, I think we've got a list of players. And I don't think Conte's going to... I don't think he says, right, I don't want that player or it's nothing. There might be in certain areas. And if he can't get that player now, and I think Bastoni is probably that player. He can't get him. I think he really wants that player because he's worked with him before, knows his capabilities. And we've all seen... Well, most of us probably seen some of the highlights of him. Young player, but he don't want to leave at this moment in time. So rather than going out and spending X amount of money that we did in the past on people that are not going to... Nkudus. The Nkudus of this world. What was that guy that we had last year that played in the midfield that we... Oh, God, what was his name?
GLC?
Not GLC. There was another guy.
What, centre mid?
No, not centre mid. He was like a bit of a... I can't remember his name now. He's that... Didn't play him. Anyway, it'll come to me when we're probably gone. But we can't wait. We can't waste, getting players just for getting a player's sake. I think the way we're doing it now, we've got the right players in because they fit the system. Definitely.
Yeah.
Eddie Ryan, do you think are we using Spence to get other players? I think we're probably just... Go on, I'll let you say it first.
No, go. I don't think we are. I think they want Spence. Conte wants Spence. I think it's just Middlesbrough playing hardball, basically.
Yeah, and I think we're not willing to budge. We're not willing to budge, probably.
Yeah, exactly. I think they want more money than he's worth. And they're probably thinking, you know what, we'll hold Tottenham and Daniel Levy to ransom. But obviously, they've not seen the film Ransom with Mel Gibson. You do not, Daniel Levy, you do not hold him to ransom. And he ain't going to pay more than what he's worth. So let's see what happens with that one.
The championship starts end of July, doesn't it? So they've got, 3 weeks. I think this is how it plays out. They'll hold and hold and hold and hold. They probably will wait to see if anybody else would come in and be interested to maybe start a bit of a bidding war. Let's say Forest were to come in or any other Premier League team, potentially Arsenal, because Arsenal were talking about him. So Arsenal are losing out on target. So the longer this goes on, the more likely somebody could come in and say, oh, we want him. Just like how Chelsea have gazumped Arsenal on a couple of deals. Arsenal have.
Yeah.
We could have the same situation with this. But I think the good thing for us is the player wants to come to Spurs. The player knows he's got Champions League football. The player knows Conte's there. And you know what I mean? Look at our facilities. So if you compare that to Arsenal, no Champions League football. I know they're obviously North London club, so they've got that London Lights appeal. But it's really difficult to sway a player from that Champions League aspect as well as Conte if they've made up their mind. So I think we're just going to hold out, and I think this one will happen probably, if not at the end of this month, possibly before, but I wouldn't surprise me if we run to the end of the window.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And I think we'll get him in the end, but it's just a matter of playing hardball. And I think he wants to come to Spurs as well. So let's see what happens.
Yeah. Using Spence, so other clubs don't think we're looking at wing backs. Could be, that's a very good point. Smoke screens, you know what I mean? We could have a smoke screen situation, but from all the talk of it, we've said as well, homegrown quota, Sid. So this would feel like homegrown quota.
Yeah.
So, want me to go on a few more?
I'm just going to quickly, I know Sean's mentioned it as well, but yeah, we've got Jack Clark's going to Sunderland. So that was another one of these young players that we bought. A lot of talent, and somebody must have seen something in him, but it just didn't work out for him. And he's done a few loan spells, and now officially he's joining Sunderland, a full transfer. So unfortunately, we didn't see the best of him. We didn't see enough of him, to be fair. So all the best at Sunderland. And I know Sunderland have got some good players there and a good manager. So best of luck to him.
I know we haven't probably got time, but we've got a few players that we maybe have to kind of put in that sort of what's going to happen with him. Brian Hill's one of them. Papi Sarr, another one. I've seen them both in pre-season training. So they're in some sort of plans, whether that's long-term plans or just short-term plans, I don't know. So that flight to Korea is going to be very interesting. Who goes?
Yeah, I think with Papi Sarr, he's put him in the squad because I think he wants to see him and assess him and see, like you said, what plans or what part of the plan he fits into. But it'll be very interesting to see whether he actually stays at the club or whether he gets loaned out. I think he's going to get loaned out unless he does really well in pre-season and Conte's so impressed that he keeps him on the bench.
Is that Sarr? He'd have to be really, really good because you remember, look at the four midfielders now that we've got: Skip, Højbjerg, Bentancur, Bissouma. As I said, I'm raving about Bissouma. I'm raving about Bentancur. If they can get that two to click in a midfield partnership, I'm not being over the top. Some people will probably say, yeah, but that is going to be one of the best midfield twos that you're going to see in the Premiership. I don't care what anybody tells me. If it works, it's still potential, but if it works,
100% agree with you. Toxic Headset is saying here, Jed Spence is coming, like it or not. Yeah, he's going to come. He's going to come. And also, Sean is saying Leicester have a Maddison replacement in Barnes, in my honest opinion, which is true. That's why I said to you, Sam, him coming to us is a possible. Well, not to us, but if we put in a bid for him, that's a good possibility because they've got Maddison they've got Barnes to replace him. Whereas Tielemans, if they got rid of Tielemans, who have they really got in that middle to replace Tielemans?
You know, with the Barnes thing, I understand what people are saying, but I think he plays more off a side. He plays more off the left or right for me, Ashley Barnes, as opposed to a real Maddison is a real central player. You know, he's a real in that middle area. And that's why I said he's got the potential to maybe go box to box. I think with Ashley Barnes, I think he's more of a slightly, inside left or inside right player. I'm not sure which. He doesn't strike me as being that central player. I know you can probably play there, but I don't see him as being the replacement for someone like, in my opinion, for James Maddison.
Yeah. Now, there's a few people in the comment section are going on about the homegrown talent issue we've got, and we need to buy English players because otherwise we're going to be stuck with a lot of foreigners and not enough homegrown talent, and that's going to be a major problem. However, question for you, and probably going to close up in about the next couple of minutes. So, out of the players we've discussed on the exit scene, come first game of the season, which one of them players, or two or three of them players, do you not see at the club?
Harry Winks, I think, is almost 100% that he won't be at Spurs come the beginning of this season. Be very, very, very surprised if he remains, because I don't think he can see any way into this team with those four in front of him. He won't even get cup games, because if you think about it, if we play the 3-4-3 system, it's two in the centre, and we've got four good ones, unless there's injuries, which we had. We've obviously skipped last year. We had Benzema out for a little while. Even Højbjerg had a little bit of a spell, but not much. I still think that it will be Winks. Then after that, if it was me in terms of an order, it would be GLC next. I just don't see anything in him in terms of being in the Premiership. I think he can play in Spain, and I think that's where he wants to go. Tanga is the real tough one for me, the real tough one, because I know we've seen it before with players saying, "Oh, yeah, I'm back. I'm going to train like I'm in bloody Rambo. I'm going to do all this." Dele Alli was a prime example, and it didn't work out for him. I just don't think he's going to work out for Tanga, because I don't think Conte really sees. He's probably said, "I see you. I see through that. That's not going to happen, because I know what you're like. I know your character, and that's why I don't think he's going to be part of our squad next season either." So I would say those three players, whether it be loans for a couple of them, definitely Winks I think will get sold. The other two might be on loan deals.
Cool. I personally think Harry Winks will be sold, because obviously there's a few bids coming for him and he wants to leave, so we just let him go. In terms of GLC, whether we can get because we're using him a lot as trying to get a part exchange deal, but obviously it's not working, so it's whether they're going to allow him to go back on loan for another 6 months until January, and potential transfers that we're after, whether we can convince the teams in January to say, right, you know what, he's done really well for you. If he stays at Villarreal, now give us one of your players or buy him, whatever. And Ndombele is a massive question. And I think a few people in the group have said we can't get rid of both GLC and Ndombele. I think we can. I think we can get rid of both of them players, because last season we did it without them too. And we've also added Bissouma this season, and obviously Perisic as well has come in and that. So I think we can. Whether Conte thinks that, I don't know. But that's how it is.
Yeah, I think that the difficulty with it, I've said this before, to get rid of so many players and to bring so many players in can be a problematic. What I think we've done well is Conte's gone for certain players, ones that we know can do it. And I think saying that, he knows Perisic. We all know that Forster is an able backup. Bissouma's played in the Premier League before. Longlet's got that talent, so he's still a bit of a risk. Richarlison's played in the Premier League before, so less of a risk. It all depends on how these players adapt to being at Spurs, because we've seen, coming to Spurs sometimes can have a bit of an effect on you. Soldado, Darren Bent, Vinicius, what's his name as well? Vincent Janssen. Oh,
yes.
God.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But like we said, we've done a lot of business 8th of July, and we've done a lot of business. We've got 5 players in, potential for a 6th, 99%, and maybe another 7th coming in. I don't know. But for Tottenham Hotspur to do the business by the 8th of July and going on pre-season with almost all the new boys apart from Langley, because I don't think he got his visa in time. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be
that's
Apparently, I
don't know.
I think Spurs were trying to do that, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay.
It'll be a good pre-season to see how we get on in Korea, and then come back. And I just can't wait for the first game of the season. It's just going to be mental, mate. I know your predictions.
We'll be there.
Yeah, but but a lot of people are seeing good positive signs, so it's good. It's absolutely fantastic that Spurs fans now are really gearing up. Ian Wright's worried already. So we've got Ian Wright on the ropes. Yeah, he's panicking,
Let's get him on the ropes, man.
Exactly. So yeah. So that's the potential exits Tottenham Hotspurs could be happening. We've discussed about 4 or 5 players. Like I said, there's like Jack Clark's gone as well. Bergwijn's gone now. So it's going to be, at least we're selling players and getting rid of players as well. Before we go, we'd just like to thank everyone for joining us, whether you've been listening to us or in the comments. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for your posts. Please smash that like button And if you haven't already subscribed, subscribe to our channel. Plenty more coming. Sam, what have you got planned? We've got talking points.
Okay, talking points on Monday. It's still to be decided on the title, but that will come out probably tomorrow. But yeah, talking points 8 o'clock Monday evenings. Look out for that. It will be the new time and a new day. And yeah, we might even start doing some preseason ones. It depends on how many people can get to watch the preseason games. That's the only issue that I think we've got. I know if you get Spurs play, you can watch them, but I'm sure there's alternatives to watching Spurs in preseason. And I'm sure those of you who can find those alternatives will find them.
Those in the know.
Those in the know. In the know.
Yeah, so before we sign off, I just want to wish every Muslim in the country, in the world, that will be celebrating Eid on Saturday or Sunday. Hope you have a tremendous day and all the good, happy memories with your family, and just enjoy. The weather looks good as well. So from Paxton Road and myself and Sam, we wish you all Eid Mubarak over the weekend.
Happy Eid Mubarak.
Yes, happy Eid Mubarak. So have a lovely weekend. Whatever you're up to, whatever you're doing, have a good weekend. And if you haven't already watched this show, just go onto YouTube and Twitter and that, have a look at it, and we'll be back with plenty more to come. So thank you very much for joining us, and it's good night.